everyone, and welcome to episode 180 of Fans of Power. I'm Joe Amato, and I'm here with my partners in crime, Tyler T-Rex Baker and Nasty Nathan. What's going on, gentlemen?
Oh, just recovering from the aftermath of unbelievable bullshit movie news.
Yeah, which
I've lost sleep over the days I've seen all over the internet from Google and Joe Blow and various websites. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I'm just, I pace back and forth. I've lost focus at work. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know who to talk. I don't know who to talk to, who to believe.
But this is the first time. No, I got you. But no, this is the first time that we will give a slight bit of discussion, because you're right. There's something about the movie news, and it's the first time.
Because we've never done it before on this podcast. For all the other 179 episodes, this is a first here, people.
But this is, yeah, you're right. It's a first in a way to where we're going to discuss something slightly different. You're correct. We have discussed it a lot, but when it popped up on, the Tonight Show, it's like, okay, this is the first time I've heard somebody say something on an actual platform where it wasn't just rumored in, like you said, 500,000 websites that nobody's ever heard of, and where it's in talks or he could be this person or that person. This is the first time where there's something. But before we get to that, I will acknowledge everybody that is in the chat room here right now that I've seen. Zentron, Febmon, Zen Brown, Tags Media Animation, and I think that's everybody that's in the chat room so far. So we'll see who else joins in. But
we are competing against Game of Thrones after the big episode last week, so I'm surprised anybody's here right now.
I'm surprised I'm here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No recording, nothing at all. Hell, there's a lot of times where people say, I'm watching The Walking Dead. It's like, yeah, we're always competing with something else, but hell, it's fun either way. But Grimbot is here as well, so, okay, well, that's everybody that, like I said, I think I acknowledged. Now, that Noah Centineo, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he was the one that was rumored to possibly be playing He-Man. And then they said Prince Adam. But then it was back to He-Man. Well, he was on the Tonight Show. Jimmy Fallon, Rob, a question saying, I heard that you're going to be playing He-Man? And he said yes. Now, does that mean we're still definitely getting the movie? No, but still, it's something to where at least it was something concrete. Now, this is where we build on something. Because yes, there's been fans that no matter what, when something is made or remade, there's fans that will get real vile and nasty and shit all over something where, yeah, that's over the top. There's also fans who are overly positive saying, oh, this is great and it's better than nothing, which that's over the top. But Tyler and I, along with Nathan, we're going to try to, like I said, dissect and give logic, meaning, you ever notice anytime somebody says something or has anything critical where they're talking about something, whether it's from a comic, cartoon, movie, or anything, you'll actually see the people that are working on these movies, these cartoons, these toys, say vile stuff back to the fans, either calling them man babies, trolls, sexist, racist, all this nasty shit, when that's not the case, because you got to understand something. We're passionate fans. And when there's something you like, hell yeah, you're going to speak up. But they're new to half of this stuff, and they don't understand the passion that fans have. It's just like, Jesus Christ, it's like if there's a food you like, and you've had it for so many years, and eventually they added something at a restaurant that made it taste like shit. Are you just going to accept and say, that's great? You'll say something. And this is where I'm leading to something. Usually, these directors and producers and writers will piss all over fans, but check this out. Sonic the Hedgehog movie, they show the first... yeah, exactly. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you did that. Really, I'm glad you did that. Because when they showed that trailer, holy piss, did people rip into that. They were saying, because they were... Okay, of course this isn't going to be an Oscar movie. We're not expecting any great, real acting in it. It's supposed to be fun. That's what you can expect. But a look and design of Sonic is something that's iconic, and we know what he's supposed to look like. And when people seen that, they ripped into it because his eyes look nothing like his eyes, his face, his mouth. He didn't have gloves. His body was in a weird shape of it wasn't proportioned to what we would know. So fans spoke up. But then check this out. Jeff Fowler, who's the director of that Sonic movie, he actually tweeted back, I think it was a day later. He said, thank you for the support and the criticism. The message is loud and clear. You aren't happy with the design and you want changes? It's going to happen. Everyone at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this character the best he can be. People, that right there, people over the top freaked out because whether it's going to be changes that will hopefully be drastic, it'd be nice if it was drastic or minute. somebody to actually acknowledge fans and not piss on them and treat them like their opinions mean nothing is amazing.
No,
So that's what
I argue that wholeheartedly, though.
But it'd be nice if there is some good changes, even an acknowledgement like that. But
that's what I want to stop.
Okay.
Is that there has been constant backlash for, first thing comes to mind is the piece of shit Ghostbusters reboot, where they came out and they were trashing fans, and they're still trashing fans to this day. So instead of, Hollywood always looks down upon fans for coming out and being vocal about this stuff. So I think they're just learning the lesson. Like, look, if you're going to acknowledge it, you're going to have to say something neutral, and that doesn't mean they're actually going to make Sonic look the way that fans want him to look.
True.
It's just covering Paramount and the powers that be from looking like they give a shit. And if you don't like it, well, look, this is what we decided on. We acknowledge your feelings. We're sorry you don't like it. But where's the money for the ticket?
And you also have to take into consideration that movie comes out in November. So it's going to give them 6 months to completely redesign that, which means the people that are in charge of the effects and the CG are probably going to end up having a lot of overtime and probably get gypped out of their pay or something. It'll be like kind of sketchy. And I'm sorry, like, yeah, he looks terrible. And even if they fix it and he looks great, you know what? The movie still looks like shit. So why does that matter?
I guess the point is, either way, we know the movie, like I said, when I've seen the previews, like, I can understand the concept. I understand fun. That's all it's ever supposed to be, from the toys to the cartoon to the video games. I understand that. And that's, yes, probably what the movie will translate to be. But if I'm to look at something, at least, because that's what we're going to be getting into. This is why I'm talking about character design. I want my person to look like how he should be. Now, yes, will he be completely overhauled? You're right. I'm sure he's not going to be, but this acknowledgement, I am having some faith that they're at least trying something, but this still is something, and it's the right way to do it. To at least somewhat, you're acknowledging the fans, and like how Tyler said, maybe they're doing it just to cover themselves because they've seen how others have done it, and it usually backfires in their face, and nobody wants to, back them up. But I am confident that they're going to do something, at least I hope, because this is the first time I've seen something positive in a way from Hollywood back to the fans, which is now our way of translating into this movie. You got Noah, who is supposed to play He-Man. Now, Noah is 6'1", 170 pounds. Now, yes, we know with boots effects, I'm sure they can make him look a little bit taller to, have maybe the height. But when it comes to the weight, this dude needs to put on some weight, and that's what we're getting at.
Hang on, Joe. Let me just do that. There you go. There's your He-Man.
Yeah, an underwear model who wears just as much as Nathan.
There you go. Does. There's your He-Man.
Yeah, see, now that's what I mean. I don't care if somebody is in shape at 170 pounds. No, that's not going to do it. He-Man, the definition of that character and the meaning of how we've always known it, even before the damn toys and the cartoon. You remember looking in the comics and it'd say, did you want to be a He-Man? And it'd have those mail-aways in comic books, and they'd show a buff dude. He-Man is the quintessential character that, has to be big, strong, imposing, and feel like, my God, this is a man that could save me. Not a skinny kind of put-together guy. He's got to be buff. So, again, if Hollywood's listening, not that they are, but this is the way of giving feedback, is saying this dude needs to put on at least about 70 pounds. He's got to get to at least 240 to somewhat be respectable.
There is still time for that. Christian Bale has made the transformation plenty of times from being ridiculously skinny to buffing up to play Batman. So it is it's in the realm of possibility. It can be.
It is, because, and it's supposed to be next year, remember? Of course, we've heard this for 18 years. But anyways, if it is next year, it is plenty of time. But the dude, how we're talking about like with Sonic, but with anybody, he's got to look the part. He's got to get big. He's got to get buff. I'm not going to accept black hair. He's got to have blonde to dirty brown hair. You got to have the He-Man look. And don't punk out and give us a suit to make him look big. This isn't Batman. This isn't Spider-Man. This isn't something where sometimes they can disguise it. This is just flesh. Yeah, fair. Perfect example of Shazam. This is a character where you got to see the body. You got to see the strength. So I'm going to pass it to you, Tyler, because I know you want to hit into it. But that's what I mean. It's like, do something right if you are going to do it. Don't just punk out and do something shitty.
It's my enthusiasm is just low simply because I keep saying Sony's behind all this. Since when has Sony made a film that was, universally accepted from based on a property standpoint outside of James Bond. You know, and I'm sure some of the more recent Bond films, they have their, retractors from that. But I don't trust Sony at all. As I've said plenty of times before, just look at Venom and Ghostbusters. I don't give a shit how much money Venom made. It was a shitty film, and I think most fans would hate it. It's just for people who just go to Hot Topic and buy the latest bullshit Marvel shirt on the rack. But still, it's, do people really like? I've seen some fans say, "Well, what about CGI?" Like, do you guys really want to see an actor with a CGI body? No, and it doesn't help too that in entertainment in our realm right now, at least is what it sounds like. Like muscle guys are not popular. They're just in shape guys. They're guys who diet and they go to the gym, but they're not powerhouses. And I'm not talking about the ridiculously looking, bodybuilders that are just not very, they look ridiculous. Not like Michael Hearn, who was linked to play He-Man probably about four years ago, which I thought that guy's perfect to play He-Man. He has the look, the body. Whether he can act or not, I have no idea, but at least he's got the look down, because that's what you got to have. And it ain't enough for this guy to gain 30, 40 pounds of muscle. Like it's important to have someone who actually put in the time and has the size to represent something like that. You can't have it CGI, and you can't settle for someone who's about the same size as someone who you see in the Fast and the Furious film. Sorry, Nathan. But someone who's just
Hey, I mean,
small.
Rock's a pretty big guy.
Yeah, but he's not going to be playing He-Man. And if he had his way, he'd be telling jokes, looking at the camera, breaking the fourth wall the whole damn time.
You know what? Let's have The Rock play He-Man. I'm all in.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and get my burial plot set and ready to go. So when the day that film comes out, I can just bury my own damn body. But I just, not opposed to someone like The Rock being in it.
I'm kidding, everybody. I see it in the chat from Zim Brown. That would be a terrible choice for.
Yes, it would be. But you do need, larger than life guys to play the muscles like Triclops and, Fisto and various other characters, so on and so forth. But CG, I mean, the most feedback I've seen, people are all against this. They don't know who this guy is. They see he's an underwear model. He's super small. He doesn't. His face looks very boyish. He-Man is like the definitive man, like a very chiseled, mature look. This guy looks like he ought to be doing Life Cereal commercials.
But it's 2019.
Oh, and right there with all your PC bullshit. It's, if you're going to do this, which I have no faith in this, I have had no faith whatsoever, and then making a current He-Man movie with Sony attached to this. Not that they could do it if Universal or Warner Bros. Or whoever else is attached, because I've said before, I'll say it again, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Turtles have all been taking it up the ass in terms of quality. It's all failed. They're not respectable films, regardless if they made money or not. They're not looked upon as great renditions of films or of these properties that we feel like were great comic books, great video games, great animated series, have great stories, great heroes and villains, but just aren't translated well to the screen because I guess it just doesn't translate that well to the screen. Bullshit. So I have no faith in it, but I also feel like, McGee came out, who was attached to direct it, with Kellen Lutz, who was attached to play He-Man, showing up publicly with Snake Mountain behind them. Hey, we're doing the He-Man movie here, guys. Okay, well, just because this guy goes on the biggest ass kisser in the world's talk show and says, yeah, I'm playing He-Man, doesn't mean anything. Means nothing. So I am glad to see most people are against it. You got a few of your polypracticals out there who are like Joe Amato trying to teach you how to be cheap. Come on, guys. So it'll be all right, guys. CGI him up. It'll be great. Have some McDonald's, man. Chill out.
I never know. That's one thing I'd never do. CGI up anything. You know me. I've never been for that.
No, but I balk at it. And, anything is possible here, people. But look, it's like, let's say if you're going to go to Vegas and bet on what are the odds on an actual, the actual, like, presentation of a legit looking He-Man actually happened, let alone a quality He-Man film. Not great, not the perfect, not, wow, this is for the hardcore fans. We sure as hell ain't getting that. And we're all looked down upon.
Oh yeah, fans. No, because they're in the business to make money. It's a property that hasn't seen anything in such a long time that, I mean, the hardcore fan base would only do so much, you know? And I think what they would contribute to it, like money wise, in terms of box office receipts, they're looking beyond that. And that's probably where a lot of that stuff's just going to get lost in translation along the way, because they don't give a shit about you. They just care about making money. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to do what they can to make that appeal to a mass audience to make money.
Well,
so and
that works. But with something that has been so far removed from the public consciousness for so long, you can get away with doing things. And I'm not talking about throwing in like really obscure references, like someone throws in a damn loaf of bread and says $1 just for the sake of, oh man, no, not that kind of stupid shit. But I'm saying keep the essential backbone of this property and not change it up and not give the characters that lame ass DC New 52 bullshit look that they tried, like, I don't know how many times they changed the outfits. I'm not saying that things can't, they should look like the exact, because I love the 87 movie. There's drastic changes there, but the core of those characters is still represented on screen. But I still feel like that because they don't care about what hardcore fans think, this property, though, should not be altered drastically, because there's no preconceived notion of what to expect from a He-Man movie, aside from people who grew up in the 80s and just have vague recollections of it. I think that's what worries me now, too, is that He-Man is seen on the internet as a big joke. Unless you're in the community, people in the fan community still like to look at He-Man as a joke, you know, so they can get likes and comments and subscribers by, you know, pissing all over He-Man, saying, "Oh, look at all this gay shit, fisto, fist in the ass, ha ha ha." But for the most part, I feel like it's pretty much given a clean slate. Like there should be no, well, we need to brighten this up for children today. We need to soften Skeletor's image because of this and that. Like I just feel like there's no excuse to change the core of Master of the Universe. You know, I felt like, I mean, even back in the 80s when those guys are giving us a toy line that's pretty mature in its content. It's not a light and fluffy Care Bears thing. So I feel like there's no excuse
you're right.
for it.
You're right. I mean, and there definitely isn't. I mean, yes, can there be changes like always, like you said, little tweaks to outfits and things? I'm sure that somebody, that makes sense. But as for anybody that would ever say we need to modernize He-Man, it's like, no. There's no sense of modernizing He-Man for today's audience, because it's a story that's always been based on fantasy and magic and just technology and stuff that, again, this is not Earth. So you don't have to make things relatable. It wasn't even relatable back then when we watched it. It was a fantasy thing. That was my escape from the shitty reality of Earth or things going on in our world. That was my escape. So definitely don't do that kind of thing. But the two core characters of He-Man and Skeletor, these are the ones to me that are essential, that you better at least damn sure get pretty close to being, I mean, they have to be perfect, but they better be at least pretty similar to what we know. Again, there'll be changes in designs, I know, and I'm not saying making secondary characters, you know, like, oh, go ahead, you have free range, go ahead and change them completely. No, but He-Man has got to look how I said. He's got to have that barbarian type of look. He's got to have the furry outfit. He's got to have his outfit with, I know they'll probably change the Iron Cross on it because they'll probably demonize it and say it's evil, so they'll give some different look, even though that's not the intention of what it ever was. But give him that and make sure he has the blonde or dirty blonde hair, no black hair. Skeletor, I swear to God, if they humanize him and make us pity him or some shit, I'll be pissed, and I don't want no Keldor. I just want an evil demon from another dimension that wants to conquer and rule this world. These are the two characters that you better not screw up. I mean, I don't know your thoughts on Skeletor either, Tyler, but Skeletor, God, I don't want a backstory. I don't want to be, feeling sorry for him and pitying him. I don't want to feel sorry for this evil demon or the main villain in this movie.
I mean, we don't have villains in movies anymore. I mean, everybody's misunderstood.
Right.
You know, it's not too often. Which I told Nathan, it was like watching Game of Thrones last week. It was great to be pissed off at the villain, the Night King, to have that kind of like emotion towards a villain. I haven't felt that way towards a villain in anything, entertainment wise, in a long, long time, because you're like, they're not holding back from them actually being real pricks, and Skeletor should be the villain you love to hate. Like as a kid when you're watching The Karate Kid, like you hate John Kreese and Cobra Kai. You think they're real douches to Daniel. Now as you get older, you're like, oh, these guys are awesome. But that first impression should be that these guys are just pure evil. Like Skeletor should kill one of his henchmen for failure, like we've seen before, or executing, peasants because they're in the way and they apologize for being in his way or something like that. Kills them right there on the spot. I'm not talking about blood and guts, but just destroys them or something like that. That this guy should be feared, like how we were supposed to believe Darth Vader was for a while. But yeah, no backstory, none of that Keldor bullshit. I'm fine with him being from Eternia and not even knowing, how he got there. I'm fine with him just, maybe, ties to Hordak, of course, but I don't, none of that, he used to be Keldor, handsome guy with a striking facial hair, long flowing black hair, and was Roan for one of the throne and all that other horseshit.
God, I hope not.
So,
I hope not.
No, he needs no explanation. None. I know nothing for Evelyn, Beastman, none of the villains need an explanation. It really does need to have just the focus on maybe a brief backstory on Grayskull, but keep it shrouded in mystery and build up the legacy and legend of that as like that needs to be built up in that. And I just feel like go back to the classic archetypes of heroes and villains with He-Man and Skeletor. Like it's God, that's what bothers me the most with all these properties. It should not be this hard to translate these classic heroes and villains that we just loved and got excited to see, and they want to give them layers and textures, and one of them has a drinking problem, pouring water on his head or something like that, just trying to make them somewhat relatable to their cause. And He-Man it's no different than G.I. Joe, Turtles, and Transformers. They should be easy to translate. Just you can tweak the looks a little bit, but it should not be treated as like we're doing the silly sword and sorcery movie here. Let's make it more like those movies with the kids and the wands, not just Harry Potter, but like those Fantastic Beasts movies where everyone's got a magic wand and stuff like that. That's what fantasy is today. Like, I don't know what they are, but they look very, very like there's no balls to fantasy anymore.
I haven't seen them, but the Fantastic Beasts thing, I think, it's a prequel to the Harry Potter story.
Well, there you go. I take I don't care for those things because I feel like it's a very, very weak, even though it's not meant for me. I just miss my sword and sorcery and sandals and dragons and broadswords and beautiful voluptuous.
Well, hey man, I miss my slasher movies, but all we get now is haunted houses and ghosts and things. So
and creepy kids staring at the camera, cocking their head this way and that way, and running at the camera real fast. Oh my god! But it can be done, people. It's just a shame that because I feel like this is a property that if you're going to do this, you need to take a gamble. This is not something that they should, if they haven't learned already, cash in on names of movies and franchises they already own and they fail miserably. Haven't they learned anything yet that you can't sell a movie just based on the name? It hasn't worked, and I don't know when. If it has ever worked.
When you're saying it's failed miserably, what are you like?
I'm thinking about all the remakes they've done where they thought they had to remake in Total Recall. We'll settle on the name. We'll get Colin Farrell. We're going to remake this. We'll get Colin Farrell. We're going to remake this. We'll get The Rock in it. We're going to remake this. We'll get The Rock in that one too. Remake this. We'll try this again. And they've got the rights to all these various horror movies. They got the rights to various comic book properties or whatever the case may be. Like they tried Hellboy again.
Yeah,
I think Hellboy has done very well.
No, yeah, because you got it. Bad.
I'm just saying, there's been a multitude of examples that because they own the rights to these things that they felt like Child's Play's coming out again. Who the hell wanted a Child's Play remake? It looks like shit, but because they've got it, they're going to use it. And that's what I'm saying. I'm afraid is what's going to happen to He-Man, which is bad considering this studio has been unable to get anything substantial off the ground, any kind of progress from terms of a final script, a director who is passionate about making sure this thing gets done. It doesn't feel like no one is coming to this with any kind of passion. They're just kind of doing this as I could do something with this. I mean, David Goyer, it's going to be like Lord of the Rings. First mistake there, and then we see all those nonsense, sketches of the battle suit, which Joe and I talked about. You can go back and check out that episode too.
Sweet
but
Christ,
people are coming at this with the wrong approach or no approach at all. They're either hired guns or guys who want to come in and, hold themselves up, it's Professor Highbrow. So I really don't like this stuff, but I could turn this into something here. We might make a little money, but I want to change this. I want to change this. Skullface guy, make that a mask. Blonde hair guy, make it redhead.
And I hate it. No, you're right. And I always hate it when they always compare it to something else. Like, let's make it like Lord of the Rings. Let's make it like this. No, how about we make it like Masters of the Universe? The property that we're still loving and appreciating after all these years and celebrating for over 30 years. It's like, just follow what was done before. There is such a rich story. We've said it so many times. That's what we do every week. We're talking about stuff from the 80s and even the MYP stuff, but there's so much stuff out there. So, no, you don't have to compare it and make it like something else. You do what's been done before and just make it good. Make a new great story, because us fans, we exist. And obviously, yes, there could be new fans, but let's face it, most of the things that are out nowadays, anything that's super popular, it's usually us fans that they always say, oh, but it's for the new kids and for the new generation. But we're the ones that'll support almost all this shit you're talking about. So since we're basically a core fan base that won't go away, as long as you please us, we'll embrace it, we'll support it. But if you make it shitty just to, like you said, make a quick buck, no, we're not going to support it. And why is that? That's what I hate, that everything's like it's being made just to make a quick buck and like, okay, now we'll move on to this, now we'll move on to that. Why is it so hard to make something that we can love and just get engrossed with, that, oh man, I can't wait for a sequel and another one and another one? Why don't they do things that want to hold our attentions anymore? It's like everything is just for this fast-paced shit of kids and the new generation to jump from one thing to another, and if it fails, so what? At least we'll do this.
Well, you just answered your own question.
Didn't it? And I hate doing that.
Well, that's just, the target demographic always for these films is usually like that PG-13. You want to hit that middle stride because it can appeal to anybody. Anybody can go to these things. Parents won't hesitate taking their kid to a PG-13 movie because it's mostly a safe thing, right? And kids today don't, like, some do, but the general perception is that kids these days don't care to want to be invested in anything. They're just boom, boom, what's the next thing? And that's the pattern that we're in now. And I just want to stress, with that whole Sonic thing, again, a polished turd is still a turd. And you got to think about, this just puts it in a scary direction, too, if you really think about it. That now this can be a thing where, like, if enough people don't like something, then they will change it. And I feel like eventually there's going to be something that's going to happen that's going to be the wrong move entirely.
But what spectrum, I mean, honestly, now it's an honest question. I ain't saying you have to agree with me, but what spectrum would you rather have? Now, would you rather have, like, where they're making a movie, and if somebody doesn't like it and they shit on us, and then there's the people that'll say, hey, it's better than nothing, then it tarnishes the name of something and they don't want to touch it no more. Or possibly, like they're trying with Sonic, they're like, okay, you know what, guys? We will try to possibly change this. And if people enjoy it, like you said, maybe it could lead to, like, our voices. What if they thought, you know what, these guys are making sense with the design of He-Man. Maybe we should do what they're kind of saying, what other fans are saying, and not what we think. I mean, I know what you mean with extremes, but I would hope that people could be open to listening to us, the real fans of stuff, to then maybe catering to something that obviously we're on to something when we say this. Because if it was just shit and we accepted shit, then they see nobody wants it and it goes away. But when you can please some fans, that at least is a direction that seems a little positive. Could it go in a negative direction? Possibly. Yeah, but I still think something positive, I mean, that to me is good.
I mean, it is, but also I'm kind of in that same boat of, like, if it's shit, I kind of just want it to, like, just go away, at the same time, too, this being the first case of such things, but I think about what Tyler said about Ghostbusters. That there's a huge stink about that, right? And then it showed up and it bombed, and then no one cared about it 2 weeks later. Everyone was already moving on to the next thing. So I guess time will tell when it comes to all of that and how all that progresses. I'll say for the He-Man movie, yes, he doesn't look like He-Man or whatever, and I'm not telling people to give it a shot, but I would at least, I mean, who are we kidding? It's probably not going to be that great. And if it is great, it'll be surprising. But at the same time, let's see what the guy looks like. If they, put longer blonde hair on him or whatever the case may be. Let's see what he actually looks like in costume and then kind of go from there. But also, as Tyler said, him saying that still doesn't mean anything. You know, you had David Goyer sitting in a computer. Here's all these sketches. Clearly, they had been working on something, but until it actually starts filming, or you see a trailer, it's just best to just be like, all right, whatever.
Another thing too is they have not got past trying to just cast He-Man, which I know is a pivotal part, but there's no mention of any other characters. Like they're obviously anybody. It's strictly here. Grab this, guy who's clearly inequipped to play the most powerful man in the universe. Throw him in there. It's like it makes Sony look like they're trying, as opposed to actually like, we want this to happen. It has potential. We can use it for merchandising and mass marketing. We got, we can fall on to like the hardcore fans. We can appease to them with the kids, with Orko and Battle Cat. We can appease to everybody. It'd be a great PG-13 summer blockbuster. It comes out in tail end of June or in July or maybe even August. And maybe like to be the surprise sleeper hit of the summer or something like that. But no, you just kind of feel like they're just doing enough to make it look like they're either trying to hold on to the rights. Because remember, Brian Flynn was on with us a while back, and there's a conflict with like Universal and Sony, and somewhere like Universal's attached to this as well. Whether has gotten better by this point. This has been like 2 years ago since we've talked to Brian Flynn about all this, but it still just kind of feels like they're just doing enough to kind of keep the rights so they don't lose them or they go to somebody else. It's a property.
Well, that's Fox had the same thing with like Fantastic Four and all that stuff. They're like, oh, we're running out of the rights. Better crank something out. Yeah, how'd that work out for them?
God, that was bad.
That Fantastic Four film was the shits. It was the drizzling shits. Like the one where you crap your pants and it's just like running down your leg and getting in your shoe. It was horrible.
I haven't experienced that, but that sounds terrible, so I can understand the analogy.
My cousin did, actually. He was in first grade, and he needed to go to the bathroom. And the teacher wouldn't let him for some reason. And he's like, I really got to go. He shit his pants. I used to...
No, you had to go wander the halls. I know you.
Yeah, I used to...
first grade's going to wander the halls.
I used to tell people all the time, like, especially when we went from elementary school to like middle school and he's trying to establish himself as like, I'm a new person, whatever. I just walk by and be like, hey, he shit his pants in first grade, right? Just completely
destroy his ego. You destroyed his life. Great. That's fantastic. Is he in therapy now?
No, he's fine. I mean,
but he's like Charlie Brown.
he's so like, I don't know. He's just around. He doesn't really have any sort of opinion on anything. He just exists and wanders the earth.
Oh, Jesus.
Hoping that nothing is running.
Yeah.
Well, during this, I just want to say JSP and Lyle Convoy have joined us in the chat room also, so thank you both for joining us as well. But
thank you for taking time away from Game of Thrones to sit in.
Yeah, maybe that explains it. Wait, can I ask you, because I've never seen Game of Thrones, how long does that last?
It's in its last season right now.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, how long is each episode?
Well,
typically an hour, but last week's was almost an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, because I wonder if that explains why. Remember how last week and a couple other weeks people would start trickling in at 10 o'clock, 10:30? That would be something. If I watch Game of Thrones, like, okay, now we'll go to Fans of Power. So that would be something, but I could see that happening probably.
But that too is a prime example of how you depict good and evil. Like, I'm not saying like we got to see people bumping uglies and rape and all and gore and stuff, but like villains are villains in Game of Thrones. Heroes are heroes. You have fights in camera and you can see them. You got sword and sorcery. You got dragons, for crying out loud, in the show, and people are clamoring for that. So sword and sorcery has its place in our current state of pop culture. So to act like this is a hard sell with all this stuff. I'm like, you're throwing zombies into a sword and sorcery show. It's paid off. There aren't words to describe how much that's paid off for anybody involved in the show, or even with George R.R. Martin or whatever. So I'm saying is that it can work. The Night King is a prick in the show. Cersei is a bitch in the show.
I was gonna say, hearing you guys talk about it, I mean, I'd like to see it. I don't know if that's something that I can get on Netflix or how I can watch it, but. What is the streaming platform for that? I'm just going to say because I don't know.
I like how it basically Joe just popped out from under his rock.
Honestly,
hey, I heard there were coupons here. What is this?
You want to hear?
What is this throne show you're talking about? Well, it sounds okay. What's it on?
If it's a service, if it's not free, I don't see half this shit. Because you want to hear my thought? I always thought here's my thing. I always thought Game of Thrones in my head was something that took back like in the old times, like like times of King Arthur or something. I was like, I didn't know there was fantasy. I didn't know there was dragons until Tyler just said dragons.
It's a mixture of. It's sort of just a mixture of all that stuff.
Yeah, you got witches, you've got witchcraft, you got sorcery, you've got beautiful dialogue, like it's people talking seriously. If they say something funny, it's done very tastefully. It's not wah 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 wah.
Naked women, naked dudes too.
Yeah, they give everybody you've got heterosexuality, homosexuality. They don't stray away from any of this stuff. Everything, it's all encompassing. I'm not saying that for him. I'm just saying the material of swords and
fantasy,
sword fights, fantasy, villains are villains, heroes are heroes. It works.
And dragons and magic, you said. And magic. Dragons and magic.
There are dragons, there's magic, there's a witch.
How are we explaining all of this to Joe when it's in its 8th and final season and he's like, I've never heard of it?
Who moved the rock?
Oh, like this motherfucker doesn't see shit. But I mean, again, what is the how do you watch it?
Just like Gomez and Adam's Family Invasion. Gomez don't say a Buick. That's who moved the rock?
That's
definitely Joe.
Do you have to pay to see this? Because that's probably why I've never
it's
seen
an HBO. So yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't have HBO.
Joe,
okay.
Well, Walmart currently is like pushing all the old seasons in a display at your local Walmart, and they're all pretty relatively cheaply priced.
Okay.
On Blu-ray and DVD.
There you go, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
And I blind bought it, Joe. Like I was told by Nathan way in advance, and Matt and Jordan told me about it. So I finally broke down, bought the first season. After the first episode, I was like, okay, you got me. I'll take this ride. And sure enough, you're going to get, people changing sides, great villains, awesome fights. You got women are depicted strongly, men are depicted strongly. No one is downplayed. Or you got some people in modern society who like to bitch about stuff like it's Game of Thrones. Like if you shouldn't be watching the show if you got.
Well, I like what you're saying.
Things.
I like what you're just saying right now because if people have been that passionate, it's so popular and everything, and it is about fantasy, then yes, definitely
it's into Game of Thrones. My mom of all people.
Well, then yes, then I guess
the recent episode, and she was all about it. She actually shed tears for people who died.
Wow.
She was sad, like she was happy and sad at the same time. She's bought
Masters
into the sword and sorcery. Yeah,
it sounds
work,
like
but not when you people are, and I don't know who the two brothers, I don't know what their last names are because I've just lost interest in it.
The Knee Brothers or whatever.
I'm saying unless these two guys are going out of their way to research this, not just here's a pamphlet some asshole put together on his coffee break about He-Man from the 80s. Oh yeah, look up a YouTube video, that Meow video, or the Prince Adam laughing gay video, and there's your research. Go make the movie. Cast this asshole to be the Prince Adam part. I just feel like unless those guys are really taking time to talk to people who are in the know, I'm still waiting on that call to tell them and direct them like, look, this is what you need for people to get excited about He-Man. Why they should, it should make guys want to go to the gym or get excited, and kids want to go to the local Walmart and buy a power sword. Make girls want to, get a Tila staff, at their local Target or something like that. Wear a Skeletor mask and stuff. It should excite kids, and the adults should be walking around wearing kick-ass, simplistic He-Man shirts that don't have meow or, hey, bro, welcome to the gun show and all the other stupid horse shit they put on T-shirts, It should be bringing nothing but and it can, damn it. I'm sick of being looked upon as like, you need to adapt with the times here, Tyler. It's like, no, son of a bitch. It's
That's why we do it.
They don't do that stuff with Game of Thrones merchandise. They don't dumb it down. They don't shy away from what it is, though.
Yeah, not wrong.
They don't.
And that's, like I said, that's why we do, and that's why we said this, is we wanted to come across, because obviously it's two passionate fans. Oh, well, I didn't mean that, Nathan, like you weren't here. I did not mean that.
I just sits back with the beer sign. I'm just here for the ride.
I feel bad when I do that. I swear to God, I did not mean that. But you know what I mean?
You're fine.
Coming from passionate fans, that's why I want to do this.
need that tablet back, though.
He's like, yeah, send me back to town, Joe, and you go back to your cracked, shitty one where the quality's even worse than this.
Like a Burger King bag with a postage stamp on it.
Here you go. That. There's your fucking thing.
You can see through the bag with all the grease marks from French fries in there.
Jesus. But that's why we do this. And also who joined us, Adam Gabbard and Chris Owens have joined us as well. Thank you both for joining us. But that's our discussion on that. And I'll get one more thing before Nathan, because I know you said you'll drop when we start talking about Caverns of Fear and our character profile.
Yeah, I got to leave the rest of the conversation to the true fans here.
Well, no. If you want to stick around, go ahead. But Chris Owens had a question. Chris Owens was wondering if anybody here is buying Snake Mountain. I can't, because that's just it's too. It looks it looks great. It's fantastic, but it's just too expensive, and that's gonna be one giant son of a gun. The thing is, I think they said $600, and it's gonna be $150 for shipping. But this is the one thing I can't answer, because I'll be honest, I don't know if it's been said in forums. Oh, Tyler, Nathan, maybe you know. Did they say that they have to meet a pre-order quota to go through with this? Oh, they did? Oh, go ahead.
They have to sell a certain amount. Eric Amon was also in the chat, and he purchased one and messaged me and let me know that it does indeed on the site say that we have to reach a certain amount of pre-orders to even get this thing made. So even buying it right now is not a guarantee, because if it doesn't go through, then they just refund your money. But that's $750. That is a commitment.
It's a lot.
That is a commitment for sure.
Like, that could go into giving us more figures. Or why can't we just get like some nice diorama backdrops for the figures? Like, why do we have to spend just under $1,000 to get something like that? Yes, I'm not denying that it looks great, but I just kind of felt like it's very unsettling to feel like spend that much money on that, though. Like, I know it makes sense given its size, but like, God, man, guys, like that could buy like or be put into like more figures. Like, I would rather $200 for a guarantee that we're going to get more New Adventures figures or more Filmation original characters, not variants, or that we're going to get I don't know, like movie troops, Skeletor's movie troops or something like that. Like, I don't know, I feel like that could be put into giving us mini comics with the figures, like hiring Kevin or Axel to do more mini comics, and I write the stories. And
again, like we said, we're not knocking it. It's just like Tyler said, we're not knocking it at all.
No, I mean, not at all. I think it's great, but I just I really have no interest. I'm really surprised they're actually getting it done after all these years. Back when Scott Nollick was running the line, it was announced they were hey, we're looking into it.
Well, this is what shocks me.
No.
The one thing that surprises me is obviously I think it's to the end of the month, end of May, to where you can put in the pre-orders for it. But if you just said that there's a quota that needs to be met, I'm surprised, especially if they would be wondering, is it going to be made, that they haven't made a meter. Anytime they've done it, like when they did it with Castle Grayskull, it gave fans that were on the fence that interest of thinking, well, should I do it? Because if I don't, they might not make it. And there's some of the fans that really are on the fence. And there's those that had the money that, bam, they're going to get it, and more power to them. But what I'm saying is, I remember when every time they do something and that meter get close to the top, and if it was a few days left or a week left, the people said, damn it, I pulled the trigger, and they got it. But there's nothing to indicate anything, almost to where there's not that strong hype interest. What if people don't know and they just don't put in the pre-order thinking that, oh, it's still going to be made, and then they don't reach it and they're like, sorry, guys, ain't going to happen. I mean, that truly might happen.
And I think that a month is too short of a time.
Oh, yeah.
They got to extend that at least 2 months. At least 2 months.
Or at least, if they didn't do the meter, at least let the people know what that number is, at least ballpark it, because if we're talking like a couple thousand, let's say it's 2,000. Do you think realistically like that is a possibility? That's like a legit question to either one of you. Like, if it was 2,000, we got to sell 2,000 of these things. Do you think that could happen at this price point? Do you think? What do you think the number is?
Okay. Well, I don't know. I would assume that at least some minimum could be almost around let's say 3. I mean, your 2 sounds pretty good, but I'd almost want to say 3. Yeah. And from a lot of the groups I've been in, just like you and Tyler, so a lot of people say they're getting it. And yes, there's been just as many saying, sorry, I can't afford it. So And the crazy thing is, it's still, you gotta somehow try to promote it even more if you can, like Super 7 as themselves. I know it's hard because, like I said, usually us fans are the ones that do the promoting for these companies by, linking in every Facebook group or Instagram that you could think of. But I even think Super 7, beyond Facebook, should go to other platforms, and I'm sure they have, but really focus on doing a promotion, because you go to eBay right now, and this is what is bizarre to me. There are people that are selling and they don't even have it. They're saying Snake Mountain, buy it now, 1,200, 1,500, 1,000, and a lot of people are buying them. Like, do you people who are going to eBay know that you could put a pre-order and get it for 600, but you're going to eBay and you're gladly putting down $1,000, $1,500? It makes no sense. That's what I mean. So there's fans that don't know about this shit. Promote it. If you really want to hit a 3,000 mark of selling 3,000 units, promote the hell out of this thing. Otherwise, it just might not happen.
Well, if you're going to go on eBay and just, what is this? $1,200? I'll buy one of those. Then you know what? You deserve to lose, quite a bit of damn money.
Yeah, these are the people that just don't. It's weird. You'd think everybody would know about He-Man stuff, but they don't. Some people just will go and buy stuff off of eBay and don't go to groups, don't know nothing. And I'm not knocking people for that, but they really don't know. It's bizarre. I would assume, because like us, everybody knows that they're trying to make Snake Mountain, but I guess not. But you're right, God. If they're going to spend $1,000 or $1,500, I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus. But that's what I mean. I wish
even that, like, this is more than any high-end collectible, like Sideshow or Hot Toys or anything like that. We're talking just under $1,000 for a toy. I mean, even for adult collectors, like, that's a major pill to swallow. And even though it's a payment plan, I will reiterate this too. I'm sure at San Diego we're going to get reveals for more figures, whether it's another batch of 4 or maybe 2 batches of 4. And there's going to be a pre-order. And we're probably going to be docked payment in full for 1 or 2 pre-orders, along with your monthly payment of Snake Mountain. So sometime in the summer, you're going to be expected to pay a couple $100 for He-Man stuff all in the same month.
I have it under good authority that Joe has already bought 6 Snake Mountains.
Yeah, right. I wish.
He just gave him a bunch of IOUs.
Yeah, exactly. A whole bunch of them. That shit ain't happening. But man, when they showed like a size comparison on both, I can't believe. I mean, it is a monster. I mean, even like you said, if let's say we were lucky enough to acquire it, man, you gotta have some room. That is a big sucker. It's great, but damn, is that thing big. So I guess, like you said, we'll find out more when it starts getting closer to summer and some of these shows come up. Anything else that might be made, but I guess we'll definitely find out at the end of this month. But I have one of those feelings. They've done it before. I'm thinking they're going to extend the pre-order. They got to, because 1 month that's not enough time.
They often say that because you have to make it look like they don't have much time. You got to do it now because you want. It's a business tactic. It's not a pirate tactic. I mean, hell, Mattel used to do it with us too. Hey, this is the last day, and then they extend it for like another week or another couple more days. Like, what the hell is this? You guys told us this was it. I could have waited till payday, then given it to you.
Yeah, and it's like Chris Owens said in the chat room. He said Val Staples thinks other outlets like Big Bag Toy Store will make Super 7 minimum. And that's the thing. Yes, I know a lot of these places.
Imagine how much they're going to be charging for
it. And I don't know what kind of prices. And then he also said that Penny Dreadful mentioned us on Rose Scuba. So, that's cool. I didn't know that. Thank you, Penny.
Now, but I want to know, what did Danielle say about us, though?
I was kind of curious
was
about
it
that
just
as well.
on that other podcast, Fans of Power? Did she go into detail? I've never been on such quality entertainment as what I was on Fans of Power those 3 times I was on there. Like,
Grim 2.
It was like,
Grim 2 left a comment on something that I posted earlier asking if there were going to be like barfing noises on the show because I ate a lot of food earlier, and I feel it. It's starting to come up.
Coming up now?
Yeah, it's starting to come up now. Anytime Tyler just starts talking about himself and how great he is, I just can't help it.
I mean, that brings me to another point. You know what bothers me the most about Noah Wiley, whatever the hell his name is being cast? He looks nothing like me.
Noah Wiley.
Behind something like that, and he really doesn't look like the guy who.
Noah Wiley was like he played on ER, right?
I don't know.
I think he was like in that librarian show on TNT or something.
Well, they're trying to rip off Indiana Jones with Kyle MacLachlan. I wonder if do you think he showed his ass on that, Nathan, like in Showgirls?
Jesus.
That's an inside joke between me and Nathan. That means nothing to anybody else. We're like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. We're entertaining ourselves right now. And Joe is like, Oh yeah. Well, here's a quote from the chat room. Just
yeah, I have to just change the subject.
Yeah, awkward transition here.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I wish they did have at least a meter. I wish they gave some inkling to fans of letting them know like how close they'd be, because
I think that would
that
would be a good reassuring thing to be like, hey, we're getting this is gonna get made.
Yeah,
I will say this though, like I've been curious if they've had struggles with the previous waves of classics, because it's gotten deeper and deeper, and most people are like, I don't know who that guy is. I ain't getting my damn money. I'll go buy a Funko Pop. I remember that guy. Is it getting harder and harder for people who want to spend money on the classic figures? But if that's the case, are they going to be willing to spend that kind of money on Snake Mountain, even though you may be familiar with it? If you're not going to spend money on that, I mean, I don't know, I just kind of feel like that's just going to be really, really hard. And I would not be surprised if it doesn't meet the quota, because this is the first time we've ever that price. You can go into, go get yourself an original, complete Eternia playset for that kind of price. I mean, you really can't close to it. We're talking under $1,000. You can get a complete Eternia playset for that price, and you probably get a minimum box Snake Mountain for around that price too. So
it's hard to tell with eBay prices these days.
Oh, I know.
Good God.
It's go to groups. That's all I'll let you know. Yeah, make your deals in He-Man groups. Everybody is cool with each other, and you can get some great deals. Yeah, don't eBay it.
All right, let me ask you here. Here's the deal for Joe. How much would a customized Black Star figure cost?
Would you want them in a package or loose?
No, I ain't doing that package bullshit.
Okay, you want a vintage, and you said classics? I could probably
like a classics version of Black Star.
I could do one for you for about $150.
$150. All right.
Yep, I could do it.
Just had to get a ballpark answer for that, though.
It's at bro price.
Well, everything. It's like I tell people. It varies.
It's not bro price, Tyler. It's not. You guys been doing this show for so long, and he can't even give you bro price.
What I'm saying is things vary from like okay. If people ever did wonder, it's like I got to take into account the basic buck of the body, the cost of that, the cost of the sculpting material, the sculpt of the paints, and then my time spent sculpting and painting, and where I'm shipping in the United States or if it's shipping around the world. That's what varies on everything. Because remember, people. Oh God, I said people like I'm Tyler. He's like, listen, people. But no, but remember, this is my full-time
like
job.
It's a bad thing. I'm sure Danielle didn't say that on Road Scoople. I'm sure
Chris Owen said. Yeah, Chris Owen said, tell Tyler to check out episode 159. Penny will make you laugh. So, but no, it's all factors in because it's my fault again. It's my full-time job. So it's just like if you go and you're spending
for you. Like, what if I take this, Menton card Thunder Punch He-Man that I got at Big Lots for $10 and sent that to you?
Well, then I would deduct the price of whatever figure you had off of the cost of me making the figure. So I do have people supply figures at times. So if I don't have to order it off of eBay, unfortunately, then if they supply it to me, then I'll just deduct costs like that. So yeah.
All right. Food for thought.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
But that is how it works. But like I said, it's my full-time job. So just picture you're getting, because some people are like, hey man, could you do it for $40? I'm like, $40? That's going to cover basically the figure that's the base body. And like, oh, forget it then. I was like, I'm spending all my time. This is like going to work. Do you go to work for free? This is my job. So that is why it
Do you send them like a gift that says "Eat my ass" from Office Space or anything like that when they say,
no, he
$40.
He sends them those gummies that you can mail people. That's called a bag of dicks. That's like it's gummies, and then you can have it to where like when they open it, it explodes and confetti goes everywhere too. I thought about doing that a time or two. The people I don't like. Well, speaking of your customs, Joe, I saw a Facebook post that you made. Let's talk about that for a second.
All right, that's
pretty cool.
It was an honor to work on. I mean, you never know when you're doing this who you're actually going to end up making something for. But the creator of the TV series, the Goldbergs, Adam F. Goldberg, he was one of the backers for the Powers of Grayskull documentary. And as one of the rewards, Joe Amato would make a figure. His figure is something that I wanted absolutely perfect. There was some unfortunate health issues in the family that got me like behind on things, but it was eventually done. He wanted to have a figure of himself based off of his photo, like when he did a kid, on the school photos, and he had on like that white outfit, a little flower or some kind of like boot, red flower on his shirt. He had those pull up white socks. He had those white kind of looking like, it almost looked like old fancy disco kind of shiny shoes with gold buckles. But I made a vintage figure of him. I carded him up. I gave him a custom camera. I gave him super mini posters based off of the Masters of the Universe posters that he has hanging on the wall in the TV series The Goldbergs. And also I got Ren McKenzie, an artist. He's a great artist on Facebook. He can do great commissions for you if you want. I wanted him to do a look in the style of like Errol McCarthy's kind of art, and man, he nailed it. And I sent that to Adam, and so I'm waiting to see his post of what he does on Instagram. But that was a pleasure to work on. I never thought I'd be doing anything like that.
Well, how long ago did you send that away?
That one was, it should have arrived Saturday. I think that's when it said, when I checked tracking, it said it arrived just yesterday. So I'm expecting hopefully this week that he'll post something. But he commented on a Facebook group in the Goldbergs about it. So he's pretty stoked. And when you see somebody getting excited like that, it just makes me excited. But
this is going to be our big break.
Like, that's it. We're going to be on the Goldbergs doing something. We're going to be in the background. I'm going to be some kind of asshole just wearing a mask at a Halloween party.
No, actually, Joe wearing the mask, but like one of those t-shirt tuxedo shirts. Like, that's what Joe's going to be wearing. Yeah. Nathan's going to be snapping his fingers and doing his breakdancing thing, and I'll just be lifting dumbbells in the background like some asshole. Yeah, man.
Exactly.
But movie's badass. How about Red Sonja? You see that movie? You didn't like it? Son of a bitch. And,
oh, shoot.
Dumbbell down the skull.
Yeah, but that was fun, man. It was a pleasure. And, Ren McKenzie, he does great work. Like I said, I can link you guys some of the stuff he's done, but very good prices and just.
Well, send me the link and I can just start putting it in the
I will
description.
In Tags Media Animation, I am working on his figure as well, which is probably about 50% done. But he's got a special one that I'll be showing eventually too, and it's it'll be different. It's not a vintage one because there was like some kind of vintage customs that somebody was doing where they were kind of like doing a lot of like mass producing of a character. But this is a special, unique one. It's going to have a unique, different look. So when people see it, and no, I was not copying anybody. This is something that Tags wanted me to do. So it's specifically for him when they see it.
And Zentron says that now he's broke because of you. So. Oh,
and Zentron, yes, and Zentron is. Yes, I like his idea because, I love the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon from back in the day, and Sheila is the thief that would go invisible. Well, he's doing a vampire kind of like version of Sheila that I'll be doing for him, so that'll be fun too.
Right on.
So I didn't mean to do a whoring of myself, but that thing with the Goldbergs was an honor and a privilege. That was just amazing.
If Tyler can sit here and talk about himself for however long and make us all nauseated, why can't you do the same thing?
Yeah, I can make people nauseated pretty good.
I'm doing it for free. Joe's doing it for money. See,
you got me.
I don't charge my talent for anything. This is a gift to the world here.
Yeah.
He got me. He got me there. You're right. I charge. Tyler doesn't.
I definitely shouldn't have got the hot dog in addition to the sandwich that I got. I'm definitely regretting that decision right
now. It looked delicious, so I seen what you got, but
it was.
All right, man. Well,
good.
I think.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Joe?
No. Yeah, post pictures of that food later. But
He's got some underlying asshole thing he wanted to say, but then he brought it back.
Okay, it's time for you to get the hell out of here and
leave the show to the true fans. I see how it is.
No.
All right.
We'll be bringing you back somewhere during the show, so go rest.
This won't be a real long conversation. This next topic's not that in depth, so I wouldn't go too far.
No.
Yeah, I won't. Yeah. All right.
All right, there. Finally, he's gone. Jeez, I didn't think we'd ever get rid of him. No. But now it's something that. Now this is we're going to discuss Caverns of Fear, and this in a way it's comparing, at least on my ends, because I know Tyler experienced mainly one way of it, I believe, and then later
two ways.
Yeah, two ways. Not really wanting to enjoy it the second way, but there's two ways you could have.
No. There's three ways you could have enjoyed this, and I called it two.
All right.
Actually, there might have been four. There might have been four ways to enjoy the story.
Okay, you could say that just reading, or reading with record, or reading with tape, or having it, or VHS.
Yes.
Or yeah. So For me, the main two ways in my first way was with the record. And I remembered, I always tell the story, that kind of big jukebox that we had in the dining room. And I remember when it get nighttime and my family's in the living room, I'd get in the dining room, I'd take my sheet, because it's funny, I like reliving the stories of what I do. I'd take a sheet, I'd put a chair in back of me, and I'd pull it over, and I would get like under the covers, I'd hit that record player on, and I'd have a flashlight. And I felt like I was like just in another world when I would experience Caverns of Fear. Now, the voices to me, that was before, I'd seen the cartoon. I enjoyed it because I was finally hearing He-Man and hearing Skeletor, even though, yes, when the cartoon came, quite different. And then when they did the VHS tape, the voices were different, and they actually did a little bit of animation. And I could see what Tyler meant, because it took a while till I ever seen the VHS tape. And I was like, wow, they added a couple things. They did tweaks, like I always said with Man at Arms. They then added a mustache to the VHS version when you could watch it. But the old one, that when you read it, there was no mustache at the time. But I enjoy them both for what they were. I know that you really kind of despise the voice of the record version, you said, but we'll get into some of the story. But go ahead, Tyler. Some of your thoughts.
It's kind of funny because I've never listened to the record version, Joe.
I thought I linked you on YouTube, and you said the voices sucked.
I don't remember that. Well, because I don't know if I ever listened to it. Maybe I did.
Yeah, you listened a little. You said, "Oh God, those voices, they were just terrible." Because you appreciated that the VHS one, you said, at least tried to sound like
it's still to this day. Like I actually watched that last weekend, just for the hell of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the voice acting of that is very damn good for every character, like from Beastman, Merman, Skeletor, He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms, Strapjaw, Orko. It all sounds like, what you'd expect, very similar to Filmation, but it's also its own, voice. Actually, Skeletor's is pretty damn good, and He-Man's is very, very good. I have no recollection that I remember having a discussion with you, I think in private, where you sent me the link for that. But then I
don't think you lasted too long, because you said, I clearly remember you saying, those voices were terrible. I remember you just didn't like them at all, because they're nothing, obviously. They're nothing like Filmation. They weren't trying to be, because it was before it. But, like Skeletor, for example, that, like, if I listen to it now, I'm so used to hearing Filmation and other things, it's weird, but it's like this tinny, robotic, echoing voice. It's weird. And when Trapjaw talked, it almost sounded like Skeletor. It is quite weird. But I liked that once years later, finally seen the VHS, I noticed they added to it, though. I mean, and I'm not just talking about, obviously, animations, but characters that didn't have some speaking lines or certain lines now did. Because in the book and with the record, there was a lot of lines that were added for Merman, and I think even for Beastman, that were on the VHS tape but weren't in the book. You couldn't even read that. That wasn't even there for the book.
I mean, hell, they even added, on that VHS tape, they would add, like, scenes, like shots that are not in the book. In, like, a Sword of Skeletor, there's a shot of Beastman, Trapjaw, and Merman joining the battle at the beginning of the story, and they're not featured at all at the beginning of the actual, like, Golden Book. But in the VHS tape, there's this beautiful, maybe 1 second, 2 second shot of them running with the rest of the, like, generic evil, like, armies of Skeletor into battle, and just rewatched, and I was like, I'd forgotten about that. There was a couple of added shots of stuff that's just not in those, and along with the addition of the mustache and things like that. I haven't actually read the actual stories because I had them all memorized, so I always took it as, for the most part, they pretty much stayed faithful in terms of like there's no added actual scenes that they may kind of stretch them out a little bit. Like the camera will pan up, you'll see Beastman here, it'll pan down, show He-Man being kicked, So they pretty much cover the whole book, but the Golden Book, would add, stretch it out because the whole tape itself is like less than half an hour. It's like 24 minutes.
About 20.
Yeah, it's very short. It's on YouTube, and both there's two tapes, actually three, because there's one on She-Ra also. But so check it out, and I would even suggest maybe sometime we do a commentary for the Golden Book VHS tape.
I'd enjoy that. I'd like to even pick, if I could. I don't know if Grimbot's still around, but I'm almost certain that the scene where you see He-Man lifting up Beastman above his head, about ready to throw him, like into that pit, I think that's what was inspiration for in the Return of Faker, where Faker is holding Beastman above his head. Even though I know there's been other versions of it.
I took that as like some of like the like from the He-Man and the Power Sword, or
in the
like,
Alcala.
Yeah.
It just, oh damn, I wish I had it by me, because I know what you're speaking of too, but there was something distinct about the. Oh, and he told me nope. All right, damn it! I thought Grimbot. It looked so close. It looked like almost a pose, but I guess it ended up then being from Alcala. Okay.
I like you talking about in Sword of Skeletor or Caverns of Fear?
Caverns of Fear.
No, because He-Man, he attacks He-Man from behind, and then Beastman gets knocked like off of what looks to be like a cliff of some kind, and makes a long fall. So I don't.
Oh, did they just add that? Did they add Caverns of Fear? See, that's what I mean. I know between the book and in the VHS, sometimes they were adding scenes from other stuff. I just thought in the VHS story, they clearly showed He-Man lifting Beastman up above his head, unless I'm absolutely nuts on
it. In Sword of Skeletor, when He-Man falls down into the trap door pit of Castle Grayskull, Beastman's down there waiting on him. They fight, and he picks up Beastman and hurls him up out of the trap door. Like, that's the only time between those three stories that he actually picks man up and throws him anywhere.
Okay. Damn, I just hate when I doubt myself. It's not that I'm.
All right. I will settle this right now as we're doing this. I will bring up that Golden Book VHS tape right now and flip to that sequence real quick. So while you're doing that.
Okay, because it's just, how with me, some things drive me absolutely insane, and I thought I really remembered seeing that in the VHS version. I thought they were like, they would always take little pieces from other things, but sometimes add, and I swear they showed him do that before because you're right, he gets knocked in the pit, but God, why do I want to think he picked him up before he did it? But maybe not. But I hate doubting myself.
All right, I'm gonna play this for you on here, Joe.
Okay. All right.
It's playing.
All right. Okay.
He kicks him and he falls over.
Oh, piss in a river.
And that's it for Beastman Inc.'s Caverns of Fear.
Oh, shit in a pond. Damn.
Right.
So
here's Sword of Skeletor, right?
Was that one all mixed together though? Did they go into one cohesive story? Because this is probably coming up is what you're gonna show me. Let me see.
And there, he hurls Beastman over his head up the door.
Yeah, but I am lost. I still thought there was but I mean, hey, you showed me the proof, but I really thought there was one certain pose in one of them stories, and I thought it was one of these golden books to where he was clearly holding him over his head, but I guess not. So, it happens.
Well, the other one's Thief of Castle Grayskull, and they don't even they share like one panel together. He-Man and Beastman do like one page, and it's like Beastman's army approaching him. The next page is Beastman standing with his fallen army, holding an axe, and He-Man standing above all of them, triumphant. That's it. There's no actual hand-to-hand combat with him and Beastman.
Okay, I'll have to find the one, but there was one I know distinctly, but you're right, it's got to be in one of those, though. I mean, it has to be. I know I wasn't, at least the image, I know I'm not making it up, but I guess you're right, I put it in the wrong story. I guess it shows that's what happens when I'm sitting there sometimes looking at a book, looking at the VHS, and things can be changed, because, even, wasn't there a distinct look of Battle Cat to where it looked Filmation-like in the VHS story, but in the actual book?
Like in Caverns of Fear, he has a very, very well. Hell, I'll just bring that up too. I mean, I've already got it up.
Yeah, but
it changes. It goes from Caverns of Fear. There's certain shots that look like Filmation, and then other shots, and the same thing that he looks very much. Very, very different.
Yeah, because what I meant is in the VHS thing, there is a distinct Filmation look, but in the actual book, when you hold the physical book, it's not like that in the physical. Yeah, let me see if it's if they can show that towards the end.
It's going to show a close up of him here from the side, and he clearly has a different shaped head there. It's colored a little bit differently. Then at the end of it here.
The end is what I'm talking about. There's this face shot that's straight.
There's two. Right, here we go. They come out of the room. There's about close up right there. And then the next shot here is Filmation style.
That's it. Okay, what you're seeing right there, That's not in the Caverns of Fear book itself. That
Yeah.
image. So that's what I meant. So they added some things into the VHS that you wouldn't see in the actual book. So I guess, you know, at least sometimes in my mind, things can get scrambled. It is like I said, it's a cool story, but it's almost expanded about like when we were talking about with the one episode NYP Underworld. I believe it was Underworld where was it Underworld that we talked about? Jesus Christ, I'd hate to lose what I'm thinking about. Oh crap. Tyler, the one that
about Caverns of Fear.
Yeah, about like how Caverns of Fear, like it's almost like has an underground entrance to Castle Grayskull, like I was comparing with the NYEP.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
And which is something that, yes, I'm glad that he got to, you know, again, with rocks destroy so nobody can go that way, because I always hated the thought of some other weird entrance into Castle Grayskull. I figured if this is, you know, the Fortress of Power with all these secrets, and the main way is always this right here in front, I always hated that thought of, hey, there's an underground way or there's a back door. It used to drive me insane.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I always thought it was pretty fascinating, but they never really followed up on it. Skeletor never makes his way in, so you don't know if it's actually legit or what. It's just led to believe that they think there is something down there, but it's a simple story. It's just trying to stop Skeletor from breaking in, but it's kind of coincidence that He-Man even goes down there, like he hears noises, which I loved it so much. I put it in that Clamp Champ Ninja story that me and Carson did together. So I drove a lot of homage to this particular story in that book. Like Clamp Champ follows Ninja down the well. Even like the first opening shot of Caverns of Fear is that same shot of He-Man. The pterodactyls are flying by. So it's like a big homage to that, and just kind of expanding that immediate surrounding of the caves of Grayskull. Like that's where the story takes place in, because I just thought it was so cool looking. It was like fascinating. They say like prehistoric creatures running around below Grayskull to this well, you know, like out on the battlefield of Grayskull, like there's a well, you know. It's just not really explained, but I just thought it was really cool. But He-Man going down there and just hears strange noises and checks it out, and Merman attacks him. And he takes out Merman, and Teela's already down there. Like the story, the logic, if you start breaking it down, kind of doesn't make too much sense. But Teela's already down there fighting Skeletor and trying to prevent him from breaking into a supposed underground entrance to Grayskull. Beastman attacks He-Man. He gets rid of him. Trapjaw comes into the battle, attacks Teela, and then Man-at-Arms shows up. Stratos shows up. And Skeletor takes off, and they pretty much destroy the entrance to the underground entrance to Grayskull. But that's the story in a nutshell. But the art is really good. There's some really cool images in it. I can't stress that enough. Like when He-Man gets down at the bottom, and you see that beautiful layout of the caves and the pterodactyls running around, like that's. It's just awesome. And just seeing the Warriors like go one-on-one with He-Man, like him running a gauntlet almost, you know, like Merman hiding in the water. Like, that's one of those things I always like about Merman, like him being a threat. What? Go ahead.
I like that you said that about Merman, because that made me think of something. Oh, and one quick other thing. That image of Beastman, I think it was from, it might have been, I don't know if it was the He-Man and the insect people. I think it was that Alcala one. Now I'm thinking about it, and I think he picked Beastman up above his head in that, because I guess it was Alcala style now that I think about it. So maybe it was that mini comic. Does that sound familiar, where it was in, you know, He-Man and the insect people, and I thought he picked Beastman up above his head in a pose. That is maybe what I'm thinking.
I think he did too. I think he did do that, yeah.
Okay, maybe that's it. I don't know why the hell I put that into Caverns of Fear, but maybe that's what I'm thinking. But when it comes back to Merman and Caverns of Fear, the one thing I appreciated from the actual record storybook that I kind of enjoyed a little bit more than the VHS, even though the VHS had voice for Merman, which was cool to hear him speak in, but I remember there was this weird kind of sound effect. It was almost like, you know, I don't know if you want to say he's growling or whatever weird sound, but there was this sound that Merman made that used to freak me out in the actual audio version of that record that wasn't in the VHS. And he wasn't speaking, but it was this weird kind of like growling, weird sea echoing sound. It's right when you said Merman, it made me think of it. So I guess there was a couple things that I liked from some compared to the others, but I know you said you never like went all the way through to listen to the record version.
No,
But
it's one of those things. If something sounds terrible, I'm not going to just continue to sit through it. I'm not going to, unless Joe's like, tell me, we got to do it for a review on the podcast. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like, someone give me some, just, I don't drink, but I'm probably going to have to start now or something.
Yeah,
like
you
that.
wouldn't have. No, I mean, I could. No, really. And I know the thing is, even though it is, see, and this, it just goes to show if everybody thinks, hey, Tyler loves everything that's just back in the 80s. He can't like
No.
anything that, like, no, Tyler does hate stuff from the 80s too. So he didn't like that. He's just somebody he's a stickler for hating to hear the heroes or the heroic warriors being called masters of the universe. And I was like, hey, that's in some of the vintage original stuff. He's like, I don't care. I still hate it. So he hates that as well.
Yeah, there's stuff that NYP did better than Filmation. There's stuff that, I love New Adventures that most people don't like. I get why people don't like that stuff, and we discussed that last week. But it's the '80s got so much right the first time around. So for someone to come along and not either take those good ideas and expand on that or run with it, and just dismiss it. No, I have a problem with that. It's never been about. It was. I mean, I think most people would agree. Yeah, it was better back then anyway. But that's not my point. If you can improve upon that, yeah, there's always room for improvement on a lot of this stuff. But I just feel like the template was laid so well to begin with, you really don't need to change all that much. You don't need to, give Merman an interesting fall from grace backstory that he was a great king in the oceans of Rakash or something like that. No, I see him as a warlord. If he ruled anything, he'd be a tyrant of the ocean. But I like seeing him as, like most of Skeletor's warriors, as mercenaries. They're hired hands. They do his bidding. But they also have personal vendettas all against He-Man. Like, they've all fought He-Man a multitude of times. And they also, fight He-Man for money. But that's how I like to look at these guys. Like, when Merman is attacking He-Man, it's almost like you could look at it different ways. Like, if He-Man shows up, I need you guys, like, guarding anything until I make sure I get in here. But it's almost like, anything with water, there's always a great chance Merman is going to be there. He-Man is by any body of water. If he's not attacked by a sea serpent or something, chances are Merman is going to pop out, and that's what we want to see. Like in Sword of Skeletor, he commands a fist out of a tidal wave comes at him as a fist, grabs He-Man, pulls him underwater, and gets him ensnared in various sea vines, and takes the power sword from him and takes him to Skeletor. Like, God, I found that to be not like frightening, but very, very like, eye-popping to watch that as a kid. Like, to see He-Man's like suffocating underneath water, struggling to get, and Merman takes off with the power sword. I had Axel do an homage to that one of the drawings because it just found to be such an interesting concept like that. That Merman successfully defeats He-Man, and takes the power sword.
And that actually is frightening. I mean, you say, that really is frightening, and it's kind of scary. And thought to be trapped like that and to drown. But I'd hope characters like that again. If a movie could ever happen, that we'd get some real respect for characters like Merman and Beastman, and not just be some kind of like lackeys that are there just to be, expendable quickly or not have much screen time or incompetent. These need to be characters that hopefully are treated with some great respect, I would hope. But yeah, and back to Caverns of Fear, and like more characters pop up, and you wonder how they show up, but at least it's explained, like, because eventually you see Man-at-Arms show up, to help Teela. You see Stratos show up, and I kind of like how they depicted Stratos, like when he grabbed Teela, he grabbed her to where like she grabs onto his legs to fly her out of there. Not the typical, put somebody in the arms. I like the different looks of it. So this is, of course, this could have been a complete color error on a lot of pages. But I noticed, like, when they were doing Skeletor's armor, in the part where, like, there's always that bat on his top upper armor, there was, like, some blue that was shown, but it seemed like it was shown in a lot of panels. Now, obviously, that could have been just the colors not knowing what to do, but I found it unique to have this weird, different look. It was almost like showing skin, armor, skin, and then armor. Like, they didn't know quite what to do with that bat design. And I don't know if you picked up on that. It seemed like it was on a few, just like with Battle Cat. Oh, it just disturbed me so much to see his underjaw colored red, like they made it look like it was part of the mask. That's the one thing that I didn't flip over. But the story itself was a fun story, whether any way you want to, interpret it or watch it or read it. There's different ways, and of course you can see two of them right there through YouTube, through the VHS version and the record one, and you can go to the org and you can just read it yourself if you just want to read and not hear nothing. But
yeah, I mean, those Golden Book tapes, they cover like on that one that I just here. I was going to play a sample real quick so people could actually hear the quality like Skeletor in this real quick. So for people who've never listened to this, we're not going to get sued over this. We don't have.
No, it's just
to worry about
we do not own the rights to this.
To claim it and to claim final victory at last. Arriving in the land of shadows, Skeletor chants an ancient spell. Storm winds howl and storm winds shriek. Bring me that which I seek. Now He-Man will come looking for the castle, and here he will meet his doom.
That's pretty cool. Well, just keep
Just
that in
a
mind.
sample.
Yeah, I was gonna say then keep that in mind. You listen to the record version, it's gonna be quite different. So enjoy that part, because you won't enjoy it unless you're real nostalgic and just have memories like I did for my childhood. Otherwise, yeah, you might not want to listen to the record version. So I'll just put that out there. Right now.
I'm not gonna it's just yeah, I know that they're trying to find something that clearly had not been completely established yet, but just sometimes you kind of feel like they really weren't trying with this, were they?
Yeah, it was different. It was fun though. I mean, like I said, for me, and when you're just using your imagination as a kid, yes, I understood it. But yeah, once you get used to other things, it's a hard sell. It's something different to go back to, unless you just like Fedmont said, yes, I like the voices in the VHS version better. No, I can understand that. I do. I go by nostalgia of the things. I enjoy them both, but yeah, it's hard to go back to the others. But that's Caverns of Fear. And now we'll do a little discussion on a character that we've done before, but it's always good to revisit at times. And I'll let you head it off, Tyler, with Buzz Off.
Yeah, I just, do we really have time to really get into a good Buzz Off discussion? Like this far in?
I think we said and more. So I'll tell you what, he's not in the title. We might save him for next week because we did a lot of other stuff. So we're going to hold off on Buzz Off. Well,
let's. I kind of feel like, we're approaching 10:30. Let's make him the focal point. Unless Steelers cast next week too, and Nicolas Cage is playing him or some nonsense
but
like
now
that.
We can hit it though now to the chat room. So if you guys have any questions for us, again, from the cartoons, mini comics, or anything of any kind of the pop culture, games, whatever you want, hit us up on that while I pass it to Tyler if you have any recommendations. And of course, Nathan, if you're listening out there, you can always pop back in case I got questions for you too.
Let me find it real quick. Yeah. I guess my recommendation would be to check out Carson's Facebook page. He's doing some updates on the Ninja Clamshot Minicom. He's actually got most of the layouts done for that book. So all they need to do is just give the final pencils, the ink, and the color and everything. But I've seen the fight sequence between Clamshot and Ninja. It's pretty much verbatim what I wrote down. All the action sequences, the cave itself, all that's intact. It looks really, really, really good. But check out his Facebook page at Mini Comics and other stuff. He's actually doing he did a fun birthday commission for me on my birthday of Ground Chuck from Ninja Turtles. And I was like, God, I would love to see more of that. So he's doing like a Ninja Turtles commission with four of my favorite villains and Leonardo.
Oh, okay.
It's looking really, really good. So he's got some beautiful artwork. Carson, when you hear this, post some more He-Man stuff. Stuff from the book that you did that Joe's got a copy of and stuff. Like, post some samples of that and any other sketches you got of He-Man, because he's got some beautiful He-Man stuff. So he's my recommendation this week. Check out his stuff and hit him up for a commission of a single character, something like that. He's doing some very, very well detailed work.
His work is amazing.
He does some very, very good job on that stuff. So check that out. Hit him up. He's very humble, very nice and polite, and he's pretty in depth about He-Man too. So
okay,
yeah.
and we can put a link. I'm sure
that we can get along there. So yeah.
Good, definitely, because we got to see that some bitch. But we'll probably get a link in underneath the description here.
Yeah, you guys
probably
send
for
me
later.
links to all that stuff, so we can go ahead and put that underneath. That way, people can check everything out.
We'll definitely get it. Now, Zentron, I think, is trying to stump me. I don't know this one, and I'm gonna feel stupid. His quote is, "I know I'm not exactly a Girl Scout, but maybe if I show him I'm trying, he'll like me." I don't know it.
That's
just one of the guys. Just one of the guys from the 80s.
That's It Takes Two. We also Steve Gutenberg.
All right. Well, I don't know. We're going to have to see what pops up here in a bit. Let's see. Tags Media Animation and Review says, Joe or Tyler, do you think they will have a big LGBTQ in the Masters of the Universe movie? I don't. Well, when it comes to the movie, I'm assuming if they just follow it like the vintage stories, I mean, that's something I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Like, would they have a relationship with like Tila and Eva Lynn or something like this? I don't know if they would do something like that. I just don't. I don't see. Okay, again, I don't care. There's nothing wrong with guys liking guys, women like women, women like women, guys and guys. But when it's just a sword and sorcery action movie, it's just an action movie. It's like, I don't even care about wanting to see a relationship with He-Man and Tila. I just want to see somebody kicking ass, somebody lifting something and throwing it with superpowers. I want to see magic, spells, dragons, fantasy. I know when I've always watched these cartoons, I've never cared about relationships in them at all. I mean, sure, is there a time like you'd say, hey, maybe He-Man and Tila get together, but it's not like it was a focal point that I ever cared about. Again, for somebody who'd want that to be their focal point, I mean, more power to them, but it's not what I've cared about any relationships in movies. It's just me.
I don't. The story doesn't need anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
we're
fantasy and action.
It's not like a coming of age drama movie, or where like a dude or a girl are having conflicts of being gay or what. Like there's just, if it worked in the context of the story, fine, but we don't have to put that into everything just because. I don't understand why it feels like everything that comes out now has to have some sort of super ultra meaning behind it. No, it doesn't. It just has to be
Yeah, I've noticed
in some
that's
case.
the thing. And you're right. I think that's what seems like has changed in a lot of movies in general, is just relationships, period. It's like that's all they're putting. It's like, okay, what happened to when you'd want to watch a movie, a cartoon, an action thing, and your focus was, God, I wonder if this guy is going to be flying in this episode. What kind of superpower they could use? What weird artifact they could find? What crazy creature? Especially when it comes to He-Man. I mean, this is all fantasy. You're always mesmerized by these creatures and powers and these badass looks that relationships have always been like an afterthought, at least for me. And in most of those stories, like, I don't care. So again, whether it's gay or straight, I've never really cared for relationships.
I guess you could throw in like just little subtle things to where you use your imagination and determine thing, but it doesn't have to be something that's just hammered into your face. Like, hey, look what we did. No, like it can be completely fine and done in sort of like just a subtle background. It doesn't intrude anything. It doesn't smack you in the face with its message. It's there.
Sure.
And you can decide and think about it on your own time, but it's not something that has to exist. It's ridiculous that we're in that state of mind. I'm gonna go grab something really fast.
Okay.
No, I don't think that should even be addressed, simply because that's not the point of a He-Man movie. Like, to take time in the movie to make sure we have a scene that implies Fisto is gay. Like, you're missing the point of this film, and you clearly have an agenda. And people who have agendas in entertainment today, it doesn't take much to figure out what they're trying to do. They're not doing it to really, they're doing it to serve their purpose or claim that they're doing it. And I just feel like it's just not necessary. It's not saying that if in your own personal mind you think, Tila is gay, or Fisto is gay, or whatever character you think might be, that's perfectly fine if you feel that way. But to take time in a new canon film to just say, hey, look, Fisto likes guys, I feel like you're taking an unnecessary turn here for the sake of telling certain people in the audience, did you see that? We're PC people. You're not that's not the point of this. It's not an issue. Like their sexuality, it's that's not has no place of who He-Man has sex with or who Tila has a relationship with. It's not. There's no place for it. I'm not saying if you think about it, yes, these characters do have sexual relations and various orientations, I'm sure. But in the context of trying to tell a great He-Man story, it's not necessary. It's not necessary to have a lot of and plus the whole point of like He-Man having a secret, it's about responsibility. That's the secret. It's not about it's a metaphor for homosexuality or anything like that. No. That's what those idiots on VH1s. I love the 80s like threw in there. That's it's about protecting others and making sacrifices for the greater good of maintaining this ungodly responsibility that's been placed upon this young man here.
I guess if there may have been some little kid that was maybe struggling with that may have looked at it in that way. And that's totally cool. It's why like people look at X-Men as being like the thing of like being gay or whatever. It's cool to have your own interpretation and use your mind to think of things, but it's good that these things were made in a way that is
yes, if you can interpret it that way and look at that's fine, but it clearly was not established as a metaphor.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I'm saying if you want to look at it that way, that's fine. But the character He-Man was not meant to be gay or as anybody else, even though they don't take time to talk about sex in the children's line, nor should they. I'm just saying that it takes away from the story to stop and let's establish here that Man-at-Arms has a thing for Rayman or something like that. It's
especially when it's not
and serves no purpose to the story.
Right. It's not like that. It's a completely different type of film. Meaning, like when I go to see action movies, I want action movies. I want fantasy. If I want to see a romantic movie or something, you go see a romantic movie. It's like there's certain tones. It's like I don't care to see about all the relationships. So, like especially if it does nothing to the story itself. Like I don't want to see them fucking eating. I don't care about watching these people eat. I don't want to see them take a shit. I don't want to see none of this. I just want to see people fighting and just beating the piss out of each other.
And if you're going to see anything, it's going to be between Tila and Prince Adam / He-Man. That's the only thing you're going to see because they are established as the essential kind of quote unquote love interest, if there is one at all, because she's a hard
and even that.
That's not much. Just hinted at in Filmation for the most part. Hinted at.
I don't even care about them. Yeah, exactly.
I just think about Brody and Mallrats, like asking all the questions to Stan Lee and like really thinking about it in that way. See, that in that regard, it's good because it's not shown. You just use your
ambiguous. You can kind of come up with your own thoughts. Yeah, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, that's the way it all needs to be. You don't have to be smacked in the face repeatedly. Like, look what we did. We're progressive. Whatever. You can get that message across and leave it open ended without.
Yeah, you're going to turn off a lot of people who feel like you're coming in with a political agenda, trying to encourage people to, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. There's a time and a place for all that stuff. There are certain, platforms. It's completely appropriate. It really
and people better remember one thing. You're right. If they're going to remember one thing about He-Man and She-Ra, both of them back in the day, they never treated men or women less than each other. Never have they ever done that. That's not what that cartoon, the comics was ever about. So don't do it in this.
My ass.
Yeah, so they better not bring it. No, really.
All right, Kevin, I have an idea for you.
No, I'm just saying, that's something that we don't need. Don't sit here and when you make a movie, have it seem like the men are complete morons or the women are helpless victims. Don't have one side treat the other less. This has been a property that has always had everybody equal. And of course, it's full of amazing fantasy creatures and everything. So don't pull that crap with He-Man because it's not what it's ever been about. They treat everybody of all genders, races, everything you could think of equally. So let's not pull that. So, but thank you for that question because that really had us going there, Tags. JSP, this is a question I actually do not know. But JSP said, did Earl Hammond, the voice of Mumra, do the voice of Skeletor on the tapes and records? I don't think he did. That was such a weird voice, but I actually don't know if it credited that. Do you remember in the books if they gave credit to the voice actor?
I barely remember Skeletor's voice at all from the Revenge of Skeletor book. So.
It was just echoing weird. It sounded robotic, but I'd have to go back and look at that book, but I actually don't remember if they credited voices in there. But thanks for that, JSP, but I'll check. Let me see. Fedmon said, Nathan, put the rubber mask back on the evil banker and get back on the screen. Oh, wait, that was to get you back on.
Well,
let's
Nathan, what is it with you and the 10-year-old Olsen twins? Do we need to call Chris Hansen? My obsession is not with the Olsen twins. My obsession with Mr. Steve Gutenberg.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah. I bought this on eBay.
Yep. See, now we're really breaking ground here, people.
I was going to try to frame this and hang it on the wall back there somewhere, but I just never got around to it.
Hey, you got to print out the one I made for you. Remember where I photoshopped?
This is something else. Just telling you, it's
I photoshopped Nathan into the cover of that magazine and changed the cover. It's gonna
it was good. It was what was it? I'll just bring it up. Why not?
Yeah, bring it up and see if you can do that screen cap thing like you did last time.
I'll do the screen share.
Yeah, because that's the one thing I'm not competent on knowing how to do. I'm pretty idiotic when it comes to technology, but everybody knows that. So we'll wait for you to get that up. And while you get that up, Zentron said the answer was Superman 4, Lacey talking with Lois at a sidewalk cafe. Oh God, Zentron, I am the worst.
What?
Yeah, that's what he said. Let's go back to that quote and see if it sounds familiar. The quote was, I know I'm not exactly a Girl Scout, but maybe if I show him I'm trying, he'll like me. I don't know. I don't know Superman 4. Does that sound familiar?
Sidewalk cafe. No, at a sidewalk cafe?
Yeah, he said a sidewalk cafe.
I don't know. I haven't watched Superman 4 in ages. And they're like, oh, why, Nathan? Did you pay money for that? Yeah, I did. I got it on eBay because to me, it's funny. It's funny.
Screenshot.
Nathan, the way you said that, and why?
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
Nathan hold up a Playgirl magazine. He goes, and why?
And why? All right. All right. So this will get a little wonky for a second because I'm not like Doug. I don't have multiple monitors and everything to get going. We'll bring that up. There we go. Got some.
Can you get it bigger?
Actually, here's what we'll do. Here's what we'll do.
That works.
Hang on. Let me do this. It'll be easier this way.
Okay.
Can we make it?
Emily going to print that out and put it in the bathroom or something like that?
I mean, hopefully. At this point, we're probably going to get back in that conversation of like, Emily doesn't exist. You're lying. You have that Playgirl. What is wrong with you?
It was great when she at least made it
be like on display in the kitchen. So like when your mom comes over, she sees you on the cover of Playgirl magazine.
Geez.
I'd be like, that's what the fans wanted. All right, here we go. Got you guys in the chat there.
There it is.
Yeah, let me set that on me, and there we go. Yeah, sexy at 35. Tyler Baker, cheap dating tips with Majo Locke. Nine foods to help you get Joe Amato in the sack. He still hasn't told me what those are yet. Video gamer, podcaster, and lover.
There you go.
So there we go.
Oh,
that's good. Like,
thanks.
God, if that isn't Fans of Power promotion material, I don't know what is.
I mean,
I think I'll have to do it.
Now, that's our PowerCon exclusive. Is he had a Playgirl cover with Nathan? Yeah, Fans of Power related. Like that's
I'm gonna do that.
Print.
I'll promote the episode with that image. I made that for Nathan. I don't know how many weeks ago, but I got a kick out.
How many of your cult followers are gonna be like, Joe, you read Playgirl magazine? Like completely ignoring the fact you promoted the podcast. I'm very curious. How many are going to ignore the text and just say that and think, Nathan Post or Playgirl? Like, I don't get. I got to go out and buy this issue. I couldn't find this issue on eBay.
Yeah, it's not like it came out in October '86 or anything.
Oh Jesus. Oh Christ. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that, Nathan. Everybody got to see that. Now let me see.
There we go.
I'm gonna
That's
try
pretty
to.
Good. That's pretty good. Yeah.
I'm gonna try to scroll down to see. I know I probably have missed some people, but oh man, I didn't realize there's that much talking when I scrolled down. Oh Jesus. Hold on. I'm trying to get there. I'm gonna miss somebody. I know I am. Nathan, you might even have to help me because I feel like Whale joined us. Thank you for joining us. But what did I miss, Nathan? Help me out.
I don't think there were. There was a question earlier if Tyler liked 80s and 90s rap.
Yeah. I actually, I liked, LL Cool J in the early '90s and late '80s. I always like Coolio. Um, I guess Bobby Brown's kind of more of pop, but I like My Prerogative, On Our Own, Every Little Step I Take. So rap from the '80s and early '90s is a lot more respectable. Like I'm not into the bitch, just a bunch of like sounds and grunts and knee deep in bitches, gangsta. I'm with my crew and all that bullshit. No, I don't. There's some more modern stuff I thought was okay, but yeah, it typically most stuff from the '80s, aside from country music, was all good, including rap. Even early '80s rap too.
Well, I always liked Biggie and I liked Tupac, but it kind of I think with that, I think with them it sort of started and ended there, between like them and like NWA and stuff like that. I think after that it became too much about, as Tyler said, just more about
shit.
Bitch, more like bitches and hoes. Like Tupac to me always sounded. He was, if you really look at the lyrics in his tracks, he really thought it through, and he wrote a lot of good stuff. I would dare say call Tupac like a poet to me anyway. Anyway, whatever. I've already broke everything with the Playgirl.
I saw like an old clip of like Soul Train from the '70s, and you're seeing like two people go down this line. I'm waiting for like Joe Amato to pop out like all by himself and doing like the whitest white bread dance like this down the line.
Oh no, I
feel like
get down.
I think Joe's got some moves growing up in the mean streets of parts unknown.
No, I'll let you know. No, yeah. I can't get down. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna even try to say I can't or anything or try to oversell myself.
Both sides of the line, like just stop and look at this guy wearing a mask who's got an afro and everything, and just
I don't know where the afro thing came from.
I just what Joe was like describing, like, man, mean streets, and he just like gets this back in the '70s. He got an afro and bell bottoms, and he's doing like doing all kinds of crazy handshakes and stuff like that, and smack 'em yak 'em, and just Joe. I'm curious, Joe. Were you voted in school to be most likely to succeed as a white male?
What question is that? Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right. Well, speaking of questions, Who Dat Will did pop in, and it kind of got addressed earlier. Any interest in the new Child's Play movie? Unfortunately, no. And
no.
Who Dat, I know that you're looking forward to it because it became the conversation of Tyler and I were talking about that new alligator film Crawl, and he came in with like, well, what about the new Child's Play? I was like, no. Chucky controls all your apps. He can kill you with all your household devices.
God, are they doing that in that shit? Really?
Next thing you know, they're gonna have Pinhead on social media, like he's gonna the killer of souls on Twitter.
Yeah,
hunky.
You don't
really quick. We had somebody new. Two Hunky Toys joined us, and I want to say thank you for joining us, Two Hunky Toys. But until you guys were talking about the new Child's Play, I didn't know there was well, you remember I don't watch trailers, so I didn't know there was a trailer. So he's contrling electronics.
You don't know there's a lot going on the road.
See, Joe's just seeing the world with whole new eyes.
It's like a fish out of water story with Joe.
It's
like Crocodile Dundee.
Right. Chucky's a doll that also comes with an app that can control the devices in your house. Like he can he can control the climate control in your house. He can turn on your blender. And I get it because you're wanting to update it to something that would resonate with a new audience. But at the same time, I'm still the mind. I know Tyler is. Joe, you probably are. If you're plugging all this stuff, it's gonna date your movie. How many movies had how many movies were there like talking about MySpace? Like no one uses that anymore, and that completely dates it. Like I'm sure there are people.
Brad Dourif still doing Chucky?
Mark Hamill's the voice of Chucky.
And the problem is, it sounds like Mark Hamill is just doing his best Brad Dourif impression.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, why not just get Brad Dourif? It just doesn't.
And the trailer looks like someone tampers with the doll. Like there's a scene or two in the trailer where it looks like someone who's like in the manufacturing plant like looks at the doll. Like I mean, just watching it, that's kind of what it looks like it implies. Like someone like tampers with the doll for it to kind of go evil, so to speak, or
Well, it sounds like this is gonna tank. My God, just that description sounds terrible.
That's what made the first one so scary. Aside from the fact that watching it as an adult, like using voodoo and taking a doll that's strictly just a battery operated doll is operating with no batteries at all. That's scary. So to use app technology, and so the turns and the plus the young boy who plays Andy is like 10 or 12 years old in it, and his mom gets him a doll. Like he's not a 5-year-old. So when he's saying Chucky's alive, he's doing all this stuff. Like, who would believe it? He's 5, But when you've got a kid that looks like he's getting ready to head into middle schools, it's got a good guy.
He really is 12. Jesus, I almost wish you guys would stop talking about this. Sounds worse and worse every description. Jesus Christ, really?
We're not making it up. I watched the trailer twice. I'm like, oh my God, man.
Yeah.
So no, I'm
I same here. The first time it's just kind of like, huh, and then you watch it again because you really have to just be like, okay, is this really the best they could have done? But they're also doing a TV show, and I think still doing a continuation from the movies that they've been doing with like Curse and the like. So I'm like, who's clamoring for all of this child's play?
You said it. Wait, they're doing a TV show. It's going to be based on this new shitty movie, you said?
No, it's complete.
The straight to video stuff.
It's complete.
Yeah,
it's completely separate. So I don't. Whatever.
It clearly comes off as more like we have rights. We're going to use them. If it fails, well, we got nothing else going for us. We don't have a creative idea. We'd rather, we can have a nice soft serve dump and come up with something better.
Just come on, Hollywood, stop trying to reboot and remake everything. Just come up with new ideas. Honestly, that's probably why we reflect on this period of time the way that we do, because there was just a lot of new, refreshing stuff. And yes, it took elements from other things that came before it, but it made it its own. It wasn't outright like, we're using the same name, the same characters, whatever. Like, be creative. I don't know what happened here.
Didn't the RoboCop remake teach anybody about anything about remakes? Like, just that one alone.
That was another bad one.
Just pick your poison. Just go down the list of shitty remakes that have all.
The worst was Total Recall. Total Recall was very, very horrible. I mean very.
You got Colin Farrell, aside from the Fright Night remake, which I haven't watched in a long time. But if you
it still holds up. It still holds up. It's still good.
It's not bad. But he's always been the go-to guy. If you're going to remake something, you got to cast Colin Farrell in it.
You know what I don't get?
Get Colin Farrell. This is Total Recall. Colin Farrell. Miami Vice, Colin Farrell.
I'll tell you what don't make sense to me is like when you think about movies like fucking RoboCop, which I've never heard anybody in my life ever talk about the original first RoboCop movie and say, that was shitty, that was bad. If that was such an iconic, which it was, great, cult, fantastic movie, why just completely say, okay, we're going to try a new version, or we're going to change this and change it? Why do they always got to change it? I got to say it a million times. If you're going to make something based on something that we love and was not fucked up anyways, sorry about that, kids. I get real irritated sometimes. It's like,
don't apologize.
They just stick.
You meant to do
well, you know what I mean? Stick with what we've always loved.
The real Joe comes in.
Well, I mean,
it happens when I get irritated. It's like, if it's going to be that, if it's always that good, make it good like that. If you want to make some new, horrible fucking version of a show or anything, you know what? Do your thing and call it something else. Like
that's
this Chucky. Sorry, okay, but that Chucky
I didn't
you
know
described.
I was doing that. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Rated R.
I'm sorry, but the thing with Chucky, it really irritated me. I was like, this sounds nothing like it. Why don't you just create a new movie with a new doll and this new idea about apps and taking over things and leave Child's Play out of it? That is not what that movie should be about.
Precisely.
God.
Yes.
But they know people are not going to come see another shitty doll movie unless you attach Chucky to it.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Hey,
Annabelle.
Doesn't mean people are going to come out and see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Adam Gabbard did have a question. What character?
What's his question?
What character can be made into a custom figure if we aren't getting one for the Classics toy line? Where can we research what is coming and what isn't coming? They don't really say. They don't really drop hints too much until
they haven't been doing the hints.
No,
yeah, before they used to do that little accessory.
Are coming.
Yeah, and they used to put accessories sometimes.
Yeah.
But But no,
we won't
haven't really
know
heard
until
much.
July. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So we're gonna probably have to rely on Joe, or Joe to deliver us figures we're not going to get because
there's going to be a lot they're not going to get. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, because
probably. So, yeah.
I mean, we've made it quite far with this toy line, and to go further means we're going to have to get, for us hardcore fans, that's a big deal. But for everybody else, they're like, I don't know who that is. Even though you listen to this podcast, we've tried to promote the hell out of every creature, every one-shot villain, good or bad. I just
the ones that we'd really like you said, unfortunately won't. Like, there's a lot of cult characters that, like how we've said about many things, that just, okay, for example, you're not going to get Filmation Count Marzo. I made that for Adam, though. Just to let you know, I made a classics version of Filmation Count Marzo for Adam. But will we get an official one of him? Guaranteed it'll probably never happen. Then another character like Queen Andrino from the NYP series, you'll probably never see her in figure form.
I find that her to be really obscure. Like, just
but you know what's funny? A weird thing for you, Tyler, is I got that request from my customer to make her, and that one took. I've never had so much probably detailing into a figure. I don't know if you remember seeing that custom I did of her. I could try to share on my wall, but it took a lot. And after I posted, I was getting a lot of requests for her. People were liking it, even though half of them didn't even know who the hell she was. But
can you just imagine Joe, like, he makes a prototype of something and he has like an assembly line of people? It would be like in Happy Gilmore with Ben Stiller's character, where they're sitting there and it's just like elderly people trying to like make them, and like their hands are hurting and everything. And Joe's like, well, now you're really going to hurt because you just pulled a landscaping dude, and they have to go like mow his yard and everything.
They're asking for Metamucil, and Joe's like, can I get some Metamucil? Helps me go put me like, you can tell me one glass to shut the hell up.
Hell, that was so terrible. Now you will sleep.
Joe's got
I'll put you to sleep.
Mustache glued to his mask there.
You're in my world now, Grandma. Yeah, you're in my world now, Grandma. Oh my God. But no, there's so many obscure ones that we'll never see, and even characters that you think are not obscure, just probably ain't gonna happen. So, but I'll always be here to make anything if somebody needs it. But it would be nice to get official versions, definitely.
Yeah, because the only way I'll probably get an Azrog or a Spider is if I hire Joe to do it. And Joe would
I mean, it's true.
Sure, I could do it, and then I never hear anything from him. Like, get him that figure that he bugged me about. Then I said, I will buy it. I gotta go now.
Yeah, and then he keeps like dodging you, and then we do the show, and you're like, hey Joe, what about that? And then all of a sudden you go from actually Joe like he just starts doing the sign language stuff that he was doing last week.
Like, I can't hear.
This was my iPad. I was like, just doing this.
Exactly.
And, he's doing clicks and whistles. It's his way of saying, you know what? I don't want your damn money, Tyler. I don't like your ideas. I'd rather starve than take your money and create something that that people are like, Joe, who's that? I want one of those. I
promise. I will be doing a custom for Tyler this year. I will. I promise. I will do that. I'll get
for free, right? For free?
No, not for free. But I will do something
for coupons.
for $150 of McDonald's coupons.
My mom gets Kroger coupons in the mail, so I could just send Joe like the next book of those, and we're even.
Hey, can I tell you something? You just mentioned Kroger. I just got a call, an automated call from Kroger. Left it on the recording, and it let me know that something I bought from Kroger is on a recall list, and it might have contained metal in it, and I still have it in my freezer, so I got to take it back to Kroger. It's
I thought you were just gonna eat. I thought you were just gonna eat it anyway.
No, it's honey barbecue Tyson chicken strips, and it said it may contain metal, so I got to take that back to Kroger. So I might have ingested some metal because I had some of them the other day.
I just see Joe eating them. He's like, yeah, that tastes like bits of the dumpster from '93.
Isn't that crazy? It's like the amount of crap I've eaten.
That honey barbecue smearing all over his mouth, and
you know what's picture that way. Tyler, picture this. Picture what you're saying. I'm eating this shit as the recording comes up, and I listen up, and they say it might contain metal, and I go, and I go back and start eating stuff.
I mean,
it sounds like a giant anvil hitting the ground. Plong.
Joe, I would think that you would have been able to have at least tasted that a little bit, unless it's so small that it doesn't matter. But I feel like you would still be able
You would think, but they said I can return what's left over for a refund. But what sucks is when I have barbecue chicken or anything, I'm always adding more barbecue sauce and hot sauce, and so I barely taste the chicken. So I don't even know what's going on.
Well, then what's the point, Joe? You may as well just take barbecue sauce and hot sauce and just like put it on a plate and then just like lick the plate. Yeah.
I do that. That's why when anybody makes me barbecue, no, if you want to be serious, when anybody makes me barbecue, I always tell them give me an extra big side of sauce, because I'll sit there and I constantly, with every bite, dip the chicken all in the thing of barbecue sauce, and then I'll take it to where it's down to the bone and there's nothing left, and I sometimes chew down the bone just for the marrow, and then I drink the barbecue sauce.
Joe's a dog.
But it's good. I mean,
are we talking about years ago when you were telling me all the time? You know, I eat chicken a lot too, Tyler. He didn't tell me that I dump it in sauce and bathe in it, and flash dance and just pour it on myself when I finish my plate. Trying to tell me I eat a lot of protein too, Tyler.
I do. I really do. I enjoy shit too much sometimes. I take it too far.
Would you drink like a bottle of barbecue sauce on the podcast?
Hey, Joe,
I'll tell you
what happened to the hot nuts thing that you were supposed to do?
I did it yesterday. I did the Death Nut Challenge. I was wearing the Modulok mask, but then it started getting too hot, so I had to switch to.
It sounds like a name for like a rap record label of that Joe would start Death
No,
Nut.
they're bad.
No, it doesn't, Tyler. You idiot.
There's 5 levels of it, and then that 5th one has 13 million Schofield units of the heat. It's ridiculous. So I went and did this. I took off my mask and then I put on this Jason mask because I had these holes for ventilation.
Oh, so they could see your eyes. Is this on? Where is this?
It's in Scareglow's house. I'll link you guys. But yes, you can see my eyes more, and I don't like showing my face, but it actually burned. I actually got, you could say, spice burn on my face, and today it's still a little red from yesterday. That's why I'm not going to be, when we get off here, if we talk for a couple minutes, I'm not going to take off my mask to reveal to anybody nothing, because my face actually, it's marked up red. That's how bad it was. It suffered. You'd think that you wouldn't get much emotion, but yeah, when your face is covered completely and you're eating hot nuts, it's bad. So I was, yeah.
Well, you're eating hot nuts publicly, and you're worried about, I got a rash from eating hot nuts.
It was.
It's like, well, no one's gonna see it anyway.
But if you're asking if I drink a bottle of hot sauce, obviously I couldn't do that. What I do is I put a straw.
Hot sauce.
Wait, wait, hang on. Let Joe finish. What are you saying?
Well, Tyler was just joking. He said, "Hey Joe, would you ever drink a bottle of barbecue sauce or something like that?" I would take a straw and I would sip it and drink it live, the whole thing. But I couldn't guzzle it because you'd see my face. But yeah, I'd put a straw in there and drink it like a pop. If you ever want to see that, I'll drink a whole barbecue sauce. I'm done.
All right, well, we'll do that next week. No, it's got to be hot sauce and not barbecue sauce.
It doesn't affect him the same way it affects you, though. It needs to be filling to where Joe's like, "Oh God, my stomach," and it just ends up, pewing into a Dixie cup or something like that.
Zen Brown just said, "Boy, this just got awkward in record timing."
I mean,
it did.
Between the Playgirls and the hot nuts and Joe's mouth, how does it not? He's got a rash on his face.
I'm proud to say I was the least offensive person on this podcast here tonight. So.
Yeah,
but then you started talking about how great you are, and it just eclipsed all of that.
Yeah, but everyone's used to that by now. They know I'm going to be running my mouth about my ego. You guys are talking about, Nathan's undercover, Playgirl magazine, Steve Gutenberg naked, and Joe's like, how to be cheap and get in the sack if you
Gutenberg is not naked. It's only an interview. They have some.
I don't want to see it.
I'm not going to show. I can't show it on here. That would be awful. But
so all of your excitement was for not Nathan. You were expecting to see the Gutenbergs, and you didn't see nothing.
We're going to clear the air. I bought this for a gag to hang in the background because it was funny. I got on a kick one day on Facebook.
Make sure you clear. I knew Nathan bought it as a gag gift, but make sure everyone else knows.
I mean, legit. But anyway, Playgirl's man for October is Jeff Thompson, and let me tell you, it's Jesus Christ. Anyway,
I just love that, of all the He-Man podcasts that have come and gone and still going right now, this episode alone has given you more on this show that who'd have thought, It would be as groundbreaking tonight on 100 episode 180. You know.
Oh Jesus.
That's what I bring to the show. A whole lot of.
I wonder if Danielle will bring this up on the next Roast Google episode. You know, talking about Nathan's on Playgirl, Joe sipping hot nuts and Tyler and his ego problem. You know?
No, he's got hot nuts in his mouth and he's sipping on hot sauce.
Oh Jesus. Gotcha. I think we're going to have to wrap this up. But Jesus God, this has been a fun episode. No, that was it. We covered them pretty much, and they got to kick out everything else. But I'm just gonna tell everybody, like I always say, it was great having you this week. We loved having you. Hope you enjoyed it. For anybody that's new to this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you always get notified of new content. And that's it. We're spent. So until next time, have a powerful day.
Bullseye, smart ass.
I know I'm not going to get it.
You know what? That's got to be the sure thing with John Cusack.
No.
Bullseye, smart ass. Oh, I'm trying to think that. Bullseye, smart ass. Say it again.
Let me say it again. Watch my eyes. Bullseye, smart ass.
Well, I hear Nathan typing. I don't know it. I'm waiting to see if somebody gets in the chat room let me see. Zentron's telling me to get it, but I can't, and nobody's got it so far. Nobody's gotten it yet. I'll wait another. Wait a second. Zen Brown said Kingpin.
No.
No. Okay. I'll wait for one more guess, and after that, you're gonna have to let us off the hook, or unless you want Cheater Nathan to do it. But I ain't got this one. Nope, don't look like anybody's going to get it.
I was looking up something else, Joe. Don't worry about what I'm doing. All right?
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. All right, what is it, Nathan? Come on, Nathan.
I was not looking that up, so I don't know.
All right, Tyler, what is it?
Chef Ramsay and Suburban Commando.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
Well,
it's been a while.
You're just gonna I don't know what that means. Stop trying to play it up and trying to guess my damn quote. Just let me send off the quote and cut it instead of building. You're like,
oh, but did I get it? But no, it's been a while since I've seen it. Yeah, but no, you did stump me. And Zen Brown said, "What the fuck?"
That's three, Joe. You're out of here.
Where are you going to hear about Suburban Commando on the He-Man podcast?
Exactly. That is true.
Not going to happen.
You know where you can hear about Suburban Commando? Probably on Beyond Retro at some point. Check out that channel.
Oh, absolutely.
There you go. All right. See you guys next time.